And there is a possibility some hijackers posed as pilots to gain access to cockpits. The FBI says that the World Trade Center crime scene is unworkable because of dangers to agents and rescuers. Now, as I was saying, David Lee Miller joins us now from Ground Zero at the World Trade Center, where rescue operations continue throughout the night. Hi, David.
Hi there, John. It has been now almost 2 days since the attack on the World Trade Center, and we are told that a total of only 9 survivors now have been plucked from the rubble. One of them, though, an absolutely miraculous story. A police officer for the Port Authority here, his name John McLaughlin. He was on the 82nd floor when suddenly the building underneath him collapsed. It gave way, and he rode that debris all the way to the ground. His injuries: broken legs and shattered ankles. An absolutely incredible story. And just a short time ago, we had the opportunity to talk to Dr. Emil Chin. He's one of the volunteers here at the site, and he personally treated 4 of the other survivors and said there could be more.
In the rubble, there's actually some big cavities that they're going into now with K9 Corps. There's a search and rescue team with dogs from Massachusetts that's down here. And I think there's always a hope for a limited number of survivors, even days after the accident.
Tell me, what have you seen? You say you have personally encountered 4 survivors.
I was here about 12 hours yesterday and almost 12 hours today. I saw 2 yesterday and 2 today. So they're coming in a very slow trickle, but we're always hopeful for more.
Can you tell us more about them? Were they conscious? Did they talk? What condition were they in?
I remember one woman was in pretty good condition. So it seems like the people are either doing very well, or unfortunately there seem to be fatalities, but not that much in between. We have not yet had to do any surgery at the scene ourselves. They're just going to hospitals by ambulance.
And from a medical perspective, what is the scene like down there?
It's a little bit chaotic, but it's really encouraging because there's so many different specialties volunteering. I'm volunteering today, and I would say the majority of the doctors are here as volunteers.
You said you had some thoughts about people having the right to see close up the site.
I think it does a disservice to the American people not to have media access right at the scene, as long as it's secure and it doesn't jeopardize any national security, because what you see from far away, the shots that I'm seeing, it does not describe the horrific nature of the trauma, both physically, in terms of life, in terms of psychological trauma, of all the rescue workers, the victims. You have to be up close. It looks like a volcano went off, not a bomb. There's ash knee deep. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen, and the American public needs to see it. They need to see what has been done to this country.
I'm not sure that many Americans would actually like to see the disaster site. Personally, we got a statistic from authorities a few hours ago upping the number of fatalities. They are now estimating it could be over 20,000 here at the World Trade Center. And John, we've also gotten word that New York City's Mayor Rudy Giuliani is asking the federal government to supplement the city's supply of body bags and to come up with another 6,000. Back to you.
David, back to Dr. Chin's comments about the American public seeing the scene at the World Trade Center. I'm a little confused. Are we not seeing what he's talking about? Are we not able to get cameras close enough to see that those scenes that he described to you?
Well, it was his opinion that the shots that he has seen, which are the pictures we've been showing you regularly and the other networks have as well, are just too far away. He says you really have to stand there up close and personal and observe this devastation, which he describes as horrific. He says that the TV pictures just don't convey that emotion. But I think even if we did that, what I'm hearing, John, from a lot of these workers, television is only a two-dimensional medium. It still wouldn't be enough to convey the real horror. When you stand even where I am and you smell the air and you breathe in now what might be asbestos particles in the air, you really understand, not just in your brain but in your heart, what has happened to this country. John?
David Lee Miller, down at the scene of the World Trade Center bombing. David, thanks very much. Joining us now from Washington, Fox News senior correspondent Rita Cosby with more on the investigation as to what happened. Rita, what do we know?
Well, John, law enforcement sources are telling me that they are almost certain that indicted terrorist Osama bin Laden is behind the deadly hijackings, and they are quickly getting some significant leads. Law enforcement officials say that they have the names of virtually all of the hijackers. Sources say that they got the names with the help of the plane's manifests and also intercepted cell phone calls. Fox News has learned that at least one of the hijackers was previously known to authorities as a supporter of bin Laden's. Sources also say that the hijackers were mainly Egyptian and Saudi nationals, the two groups that comprise a good portion of bin Laden's followers. Now, investigators tonight are following the paper trail. Some of the passenger tickets purchased by the hijackers were, I'm told, bought in cash. But in one case, sources say that a single credit card was used to buy tickets for 7 of the hijackers. Also, a car left at Boston Airport, Logan Airport there, containing technical flight training information, led authorities to a flight training school in southern Florida. 4 of the men who authorities believe participated in the hijacking of the Twin Towers in New York lived in southern Florida and at some point were trained at 2 separate training schools there. Heavily armed authorities also stormed a Boston hotel today. There they found, according to sources, a vacant hotel room rented out by one of the hijackers. They also took 3 men into custody. One law enforcement source telling me tonight that the men have been released, that there was not sufficient evidence to hold any of them at this point, but that they're still going to keep an eye on them and also others. An Amtrak train from Boston to Washington was also held up for 2 hours in Providence, Rhode Island. Now, the mayor there tells Fox News that one man was arrested, the man you see there, on weapons charges. Sources now say that this may not be related to the hijackings, that they're still looking into this. Authorities are rounding up individuals, I'm told, in at least 5 states, including also in Pennsylvania, Maine, and also New Jersey, trying to get people with possible ties to bin Laden behind bars, even on immigration offenses, whatever offenses they could, in hopes of preventing any possible future attacks, and also in hopes of getting valuable information leading to who they believe masterminded this highly sophisticated attack. John?
Rita Cosby in Washington with the latest on the investigation. Rita, thanks very much. Meantime, Fox News correspondent Brian Wilson joins us live from the Pentagon. Brian?
Yes, the cleanup continues here. They're trying to find the right balance here between going in and destroying a crime scene and also trying to stabilize the situation. Now, the feeling here is that no one has survived, that there will be no survivors pulled from the debris here. That's because the impact, the fire, the smoke over the last day and a half was just too much, that no one could have survived it. And now the question is, what do they do next? And there seems to be some concern about the stability of the building. They're trying to shore it up, doing the best they can to make it in a more stable situation before they go in depth. Also today, a rather poignant moment this afternoon, as workers climbed to the very top of the south side of the Pentagon, not too far from where the plane impacted the south side of the Pentagon building, and unfurled a giant flag. And I must tell you, as I came to work today, all over Washington, in neighborhoods, hanging from overpasses, the American flag is on display in this city. A patriotic display, and here on the Pentagon, a patriotic gesture at a time when the nation is still reeling from the events of the past day or so. Now, the area around the Pentagon has been locked down, but only recently have they opened up the streets to the public, and it seems the public is coming by to take a look. For the first time since a plane crashed into the side of the Pentagon, folks were allowed to get close enough to see the damage firsthand. It was an unusual mix of people on this night. Sure, there were those who came to see the bright lights and the media trucks, but others came almost out of a sense of obligation.
And in fact, my daughter said, "Do you think we're being disrespectful to come down and look? Because I don't want to appear that we're gawking." And I said, "No, I really think we're showing our respect."
Still others came because they couldn't quite believe what they had seen on television.
Like anything else, the pictures on TV don't do justice to the scene, and it doesn't seem real until you come down here and look at it.
As you might imagine, some people were just angry and wanted to vent.
It's a shame. It's a shame. And whoever did it, hey, we're going to get you.
And then there were the people who came to explain the unexplainable to their children. And the children seemed to understand.
People have just lost everyone like their moms and dads in this, so It's just sad like that. So that's just what I think.
Isn't it funny how the young children, even though they may not understand or grasp everything that they see, get the real basic here, that there's been a human loss of life and that some people will not have their mommies and daddies coming home. A poignant comment from a very young viewer of the damage tonight. We're here in front of the Pentagon where the work continues and the death toll now stands at 80. John, back to you.
Brian Wilson at the Pentagon. Brian, thanks a lot. More details coming in now about what happened on those 4 doomed hijacked airplanes. Passengers made chilling cell phone calls to 911 and to loved ones. Steve Brown reports.
As terrorists took over 4 flights Tuesday, passengers and crew members used cell phones to reach out with urgent cries for help, with information for authorities, or with last-second words of love for family members. Mark Bingham was aboard United Flight 93, which had left Newark for San Francisco. He reached family members at home.
He just said, I want to let you all know that I love you very, very much in case I don't see you again.
I said that.
That the plane has been taken over by hijackers. And then I said, well, we love you very much too, Mark. Let me go get your mother.
An unidentified man hiding in a bathroom aboard Flight 93 dialed 911 on his cell phone to reach a dispatcher outside Pittsburgh. We are being hijacked. We are being hijacked. This is not a joke, he said, before his phone went dead. Aboard the same flight, Lauren Grancolis, on her way home to San Francisco from her grandmother's funeral in New Jersey, was able to reach her husband, Jack. We have been hijacked, she told him. They are being kind. I love you. Flight attendant C.C. Ross of Fort Myers, Florida, put through a panicked call to her husband, Lauren Lyles, who had just gotten their 2 sons off to school. He heard screams in the background as she told him, we've been hijacked. I love you. I love the children. Still on Flight 93, Thomas Burnett called his wife Dina and told her of a final act of resistance to terror. I know we're all going to die. There's 3 of us who are going to do something about it, he said. Flight 93 was the only plane that didn't reach its target, crashing into an empty field in southern Pennsylvania. Peter Hansen of Groton, Massachusetts, was aboard United Flight 175 with his wife and their 3-year-old daughter as it left Boston for Los Angeles. He reached his father in Connecticut. Hansen told his parents he knew they were all going to die, but he tried to reassure them. Don't worry about us. It's going to be quick, Hansen told his father. United Flight 175 was the second plane to crash into the World Trade Center. Fox News commentator Barbara Olson was aboard American Airlines Flight 77 as it left Washington for Los Angeles. She was able to place 2 calls to her husband, Theodore Olson, the U.S. Solicitor General. Our plane is being hijacked. She then asked, what should I tell the pilot? The call was cut off, but she immediately called back to ask again, what should I tell the pilot? Those were her final words as minutes later, American Flight 77 became a massive missile and crashed into the Pentagon. Steve Brown, Fox News.
Joining us now, counterterrorism and Middle East expert Brian Jenkins. Brian is a former member of the Clinton administration's Commission on Aviation Safety and Security. Brian, I hardly know where to begin, but let's talk about those cell phone calls. It sounds as though, to me, and maybe to you as well, you can tell me, if that plane that crashed outside of Pittsburgh might have made it to Washington, might have hit a target if the passengers hadn't conducted what amounts to a mutiny of their hijacking.
It certainly seems that way. The natural reaction of passengers in a hijacked aircraft, and normally quite sensibly so, is to remain passive and to not attempt to confront the hijackers. In this particular case, however, they did so, and their heroism, in fact, is probably saved hundreds, if not thousands, of more lives.
Because the plane undoubtedly was headed for some other dramatic target, do you think?
I suspect so. I mean, we don't know what that target was, whether it was going to be another plane into the Pentagon, whether it was going to be aimed at the White House, whether it would crash somewhere else in Washington, the Capitol. We don't know. But the fact is it went down in a field in Pennsylvania, which was certainly a tragedy for the passengers on